I guess this is going to be the best place to begin this video. Sugar is not going to help you achieve what you want to achieve in life. In fact, it's going to work against you. Sugar ultimately shortens your fuse. It does a lot of other things too. I'm going to focus on that point though. Keep watching, and I'm going to get into exactly what I mean by it shortens your fuse and a little bit of research about it. Done not by me, but by a famous, believe it or not, psychological nutritionist. Hi, my name is Shawn Sommerkamp, and this is Motivationeer Christian Coaching. I post 2 videos a week, so please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you can be reminded when I do. Please also consider becoming a member at Motivationeer.com. Your membership really supports this channel. Thank you. Yeah, it's pretty cool to think that there are now people pioneering in the world of nutritional psychiatry. Dr. Uma Nedu at Harvard Medical School is one of those. She has a degree in the culinary arts. She's actually a chef. In fact, I can't even really state all of her credentials, but I do recommend you look her up. Very impressive. She's written a book recently called This Is Your Brain on Food. I'm not going to reference that a lot. You can buy it and read it yourself. In fact, I have not read it yet. I have looked into it a lot though, read a lot of stuff about it online. The idea though is the way that we feel, as you know from lots of other content I've produced, comes from what we tell ourselves about what's happening, not because of what's happening. That is a very large portion of our own emotional moods and feelings. However, food does greatly affect it. I believe this is what Jesus meant, at least in part, in Mark 12:30, when he said to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That is the balance. This is from the Shema in Deuteronomy 6, which Jews still recite to this day in the morning, before meals, and at night before going to bed. But he gives us kind of the big 4 corners of balance in our life. And that strength, I believe we can reference our sleep, our physical condition, and certainly the food that we eat. What we eat does affect us. I've talked about this before, I think, but Dr. Jordan Peterson, another very renowned psychiatrist, recommends after we sleep, we break our fast. We do so with high fat, high protein, never sugar. Once we get into that sugar mode, it's kind of like a hyperglycemia mode, even though we're not diabetic. Maybe you are, but for those that even aren't, an increase in glucose will affect our mood in that moment. When we eat sugary food, the length of time that we have to process what's going on and make a calm, rational, peaceful, wise decision is much briefer. In fact, when we do eat sugary foods, processed sugary foods, it does make us a little bit more certainly hypersensitive. It makes us a little bit more impartial to negative modes of thinking. I know for myself, I experience this almost immediately. In fact, I reached out to Dr. Uma Nedu through LinkedIn and asked her about research on this, because if you start researching how sugar affects your mood, it's kind of hard to find some good information about it. So I reached out to her on LinkedIn. She immediately replied within minutes, which was wonderful. And she said she covers this research ad nauseum in her book. So I am going to be getting that book and looking at it. Practically speaking though, when I eat something with sugar, I become more susceptible to negative thinking patterns. Throughout the day, I get frustrated way easier. I don't tolerate certain things like I do with patience. I become very impatient, rude. I become, all those other nasty things that we don't want, that certainly I don't want. I'm sure you don't either. And I have monitored this over my career. I notice when I eat something at a certain time during the day, how it affects me later. Certainly eating sugar, you'll get that spike in energy quickly because of the rush of glucose, which I'm sure you know, our brains feed off of glucose. So if we have too much of it in our bloodstream all the time, it's going to lead to depression. You'll find a lot about that in the literature online that's available online. But there's a lot of other more complex things that sugar does to our body. If we stay on sugar for a period of time, we develop a dependency for it, and we will, like other drugs, go through withdrawals when we get off of it. So what I always recommend, as I mentioned before, stay away from sugar as much as possible. There are great low glycemic alternatives to processed sugar. such as coconut nectar, brown rice syrup. Those are the things that we use in our cooking here in the house with my wife. It doesn't give you that quick rush or that hard crash. You don't feel that raciness. You don't feel that frustration and kind of quick moodiness. If you're wanting to get ahead and you feel yourself kind of unbalanced throughout the day frequently, just take a minute to think back the last time you had sugar. It probably has something to do with it. And then take the steps just getting rid of it completely. If you've developed a habit of eating sugar in the morning as part of your breakfast or a lot of it in your coffee or whatever, definitely get rid of that first. Once you set that anxious mindset from eating sugar at the beginning of the day, it is very hard to get out of it the rest of the day. At least that's what I've found. I think there's some good science behind that as well. Sugar will shorten your fuse. Let's keep a long fuse to think through how to deal with situations when they come up, and let's get rid of what is going to keep us from doing that effectively. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe for 2 new videos each week. Tell me in the comments below about your career situation, and I'll make a video for you with a shout out. You can also become a member at Motivationeer.com. Your career is not just a way to make a living, it's a way to transform the world.